Hello everybody, it's Terri Conrad with Bloom True, and I'm about to start on a new mixed media art journal. And I just wanted to share with you some of the goodies that I gathered from my stash. I've got fabric. These little scraps are from my own fabric collections from Spoonflower, but you know, you use what you got, so whatever you have in your stash, that's perfectly fine. I've got pre-painted little strips of paper, and then these are going to be the papers that I printed on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. I've got vintage paper. Here's another 8.5 by 11. These will all go inside the journal once I get it stitched together. And tomorrow, that's what I'm going to show you. I'll reveal the cover, and I'll show you how I include the papers inside, stitch it all together, and then we'll begin to do all the fun stuff, getting messy with the glue and collage and sentiments that are up here. So come back, follow me at Bloom True. Thanks, bye. Hey there, continuing from our reel yesterday, we are going to be constructing our 8.5 by 11 journal today, and I've printed these collage papers onto cardstock. These are just pieces that I've created in my past and that I have in my stash. And as is often the case, maybe for you as well, when my mind is idle, I get these creative ideas and really decided to go in a little bit of a different direction with the cover. So there's this one, which I love. Yellow again is my favorite color, and there's just lots of detail in this. And it would make a beautiful cover with maybe a floral collaged on top. However, I decided to go with this piece that is just full of paint and ink, and this little floret or scroll was painted on, and it has a sentiment box, which is perfect for the cover of our journal. And I really want this journal to be about being courageous and understanding how we can better show up for ourselves. So I'm going to get started by gluing on the sentiment. I'm just going to use basic UHU glue, and I might outline some of the words and embellish just a little bit, and I'll show you along the way what I do. But once we do that, then I'm going to gather my inside pages, which will consist of mixed media paper and then some of the decorative papers that we were looking at yesterday, and collage and paint and glue and pretty paper and all the good stuff. So let's move on to that next step. So I'm going to use my Aquarelle Stabilo pencil and just outline some of these words and give it a little bit of emphasis. And if you've used these pencils before, you'll know that they activate when you add water, and what that will do is give it a little bit of an inky look. And I'm going to grab a brush. I can't believe I don't have it right here. Let me grab a brush. So next I've gathered the papers that I want inside the journal. They're all 8.5 by 11, or like this vintage sheet might just be shy of that. But all I've done is fold them in half. I have a mix of old and new. We've got the mixed media paper. I have the sheets of paper that I designed, and I actually folded them inward because I just wanted to. There was no rhyme or reason. You can fold them out or in. More mixed media paper, and I've got this vintage sheet, and now I'm going to gather it all together and clip it and begin stitching. Now I use a little, gosh, I guess this is watercolor paper, and it's more or less a template for an 8.5 by 11 journal. I've got 3 holes or 3 dots here, the center up 3 inches and down 3 inches. And I've got my pages clipped together to hold them snug. And what I'm going to do is take my awl, and I've got this pad of paper underneath just so I don't scratch my desk. I'm gonna take my awl and poke it all the way through, kind of wiggle it in a circle to make sure that hole is nice and big. There's the other one, wiggle it around, and here is the third. And now we're ready to stitch. I've got my bookbinding thread here, and you can see I've got a good like 4-inch tail on one end. And what I've done is measured like twice the depth of the journal, and that's going to give me enough room to tie off. So you want to begin by going through the center hole, and then kind of, you could tape this tail down or just kind of make sure that you keep it in place. So now here I am. I've come through the center hole from the inside. I'm gonna go through the top and make sure you don't get your thread caught on the journal or the clips. And you wanna pull that taut. Whoops, pulled it a little too far. So let's bring that back through. Now I'm gonna come all the way down to the bottom, pull the stitching through, turn it over, come through the center, pull it up, make sure we're taut, there we go. And then you just tie it off. I'm gonna draw one of these underneath. Whoops, it didn't go under. There we go. Okay. And then we just tie it in a couple knots. There's one. There's 2. And then I'll usually take these tails and tie a knot kind of where I want to trim it. There's there, and here's this one. This one's actually a little longer. Okay, so I've got some extra thread here, and I'm just going to trim it close to where those knots are. Take off the clips. And there you go. We've got the beginning of our journal. And now the fun part is going to be getting the paint and glue and gesso and paper scraps and all that good stuff and fill this with goodness. Thanks for joining me today. So much for staying with me on this. Next, we are going to create our first page. I've got this sweet little butterfly that I illustrated. As you can see, I've got the sentiments, unfurl your wings and fly. I have some pre-cut strips of paper that we're going to collage onto the page. I may use them all, I may only use part of them. And I have decided to go right into the center of the journal to begin. And this is a 2-page spread, And for the sake of time, I already went ahead and laid down just a really light layer of gesso. And I love that it gives, gosh, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it just gives it a beautiful texture. And one of my favorite things to do is take a loose round brush, a big round brush. This one, I don't even know if it says, oh, size 14. So, and I get the bristles nice and wet. And then I'm just gonna choose, I've got my watercolors here. Here's a set of watercolor. You can't see it on camera. Let's see if I can move this up a bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna choose some color to lay it down. So we've got a lot of pinks and yellows in here. Gosh, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with some blue. No, pink, yellow, and green. I'm gonna go with green. Okay, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I am winging it, no pun intended. And you know what else I think I might do? I have a spray bottle here, somewhere. Here it is. I'm gonna spray this a little. It'll just help the paint move a little more easily, kind of flow. And the more water you use, the more your watercolor will flow, and it will be a little more transparent. I like this darker, a little bit of a darker green. Oh, here's one. Okay. Pink, yellow, and green are, and have been, my favorite color combinations for as long as I can remember. Truly, truly. I wonder what your favorite color combinations are. And you know, when you're laying your paint down, again, the beauty of all this is that there's no right or wrong. You're just kind of getting into the flow and letting go. And wherever the paint lands, it lands. You can wipe it off. You can paint over it eventually if it doesn't work out the way you really want it to. Okay, so there's that. And I'm gonna add maybe, let's see how this goes. A little gold. It's kind of a mustard yellow, actually, in terms of color. It's still watercolor, and I want to lay some of that down just to give it a little movement and texture, a little depth maybe. And I'm just laying it down. Again, there's no rule to how you do this, and that's what is so rewarding and so fulfilling when I'm painting like this. I find such great comfort when I do this, and I hope you do too. Whoops, that's a brush hair. Let's try and get that out of there. There we go, how funny. Okay, I think that's good. And now we'll let that dry before we collage our papers on. So you see that I've laid down the watercolor, and I've got my papers here that I'm going to be collaging with. And I love to actually try and age my papers when I'm using them. And I'm pretty sure these are still available for sale, but I use this paper scraper, and it's got these little blades inside these grooves, and you scrape it along the paper, and it gives you this kind of tattered effect, which I really like. I mean, it's completely up to you. Again, you guys, you can use a straight edge cut, you can use a tattered cut, and I decided I wanted to lay down a little bit of a blue background, and I'm looking at these 3 shades of blue. I saw these at Target, and I just fell in love, and I think I bought the whole lot, every single color they had. But looking at the colors that are in the paper, I think I'm gonna go with this lighter blue. And I'm gonna do my collage on the right-hand page. Oh, and I'm gonna use this scraper, and I'll pour the paint right here, and I'm just gonna scrape down a little bit of a background. So I'm gonna use my palette knife, dip it in here, and just scrape across. And let's see how this works. I like that. I like that. Okay, wipe that off. I'm gonna wipe that off. Actually, I'll put that in my water. And now, as that dries, we'll begin looking at how we want to lay out our little strips of paper. This is just, I love the way the color pops, love it. And of course it's longer than our journal, so I'm just gonna tear off a small part of each end. Let's see. Like that. And I'm just getting a sense of how things look and feel before I begin gluing them down. That would need to be a little shorter as well. And I see, actually, as I'm laying these down, they're kind of covering up the blue paint. But that'll let a little bit peek out there. I wonder if I want to, you know what? I think I do. I want a little more to peek out on that left side. So let's see if I can do this. Maybe I don't use that one. Maybe I don't use that one. There. We'll go like that. Like that. And I think, oh yeah, okay. Let's see here. I want to make sure the writing is going in the proper direction. Oh, I love that. Look how pretty that is. And then we can put the blue up there, and then we've got the contrast there, and then little butterfly will go there. And I think I might stitch her. I'm not quite sure yet, because I thought it would be fun to have it be interactive where you can lift up the wings. So let's get started on gluing. Okay, I have glued my papers down on the page, and I stitched the little butterfly. This would have been much easier to do with a sewing machine and just run a straight stitch, actually all the way up and down, and have some threads hanging. But my sewing machine isn't working right now. So I just hand stitched it and tied off the knot. And gosh, wouldn't it be fun to tuck a little note under her wings? But right now, I want to take this sentiment and kind of decide how to lay it out. Unfurl your wings and fly. What do you think? Pretty sweet, huh? I would love to see how yours turned out. I'm gonna glue these down. I'll show you the finished page. And if you decide to make a page like this, go ahead and tag me at bloom_true on Instagram and show me your page. Thanks, guys. So I've gone ahead and outlined my sentiment with my Stabilo pencil, and I've got this fine little round brush, and I'm just going to gently go over the lines to make them a little inky. And I've discovered, being that I'm left-handed and I rest my hand on my paper or my art, that I generally have to go bottom to top, right to left. So it is entirely backwards from a right-handed person. Kind of funny, huh? In some ways, though, I'm actually ambidextrous. I cut with my right hand, both a knife when I'm eating. I use my right hand for cutting, and for cutting paper, I use my right hand. I have no idea why, but that's just the way that it's always been. And then I did just a little bit of an outline under the butterfly, just to give it a little depth right there. And look what I put underneath. Soul Care. There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to continue to fill out this journal and add the pages both to my IG account and to the YouTube channel for this journal. So I hope you will have courage to start showing up and letting yourself be seen, just as you are today, here and now. Lots of love. See you guys later. Oh, hey, be sure to follow me at bloomtrue on Instagram and subscribe to that YouTube channel for Bloom True as well. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Bye.